Hey everyone, really excited to share this video with you. This is my comprehensive guide to buying raw gradable cards on eBay. I'm going to walk you through my step-by-step process of vetting each card. I'm going to show you my screen and really walk through everything that I do. So here's some numbers from last year, some of my numbers. I graded 81% of the cards I bought raw, and I averaged 67% gem rate at PSA. So there's a lot of potential to buy really good raw clean cards on eBay. Even now, you just have to know what types of cards to look for and follow the good process to vet them before you buy them. So please like this video if it's helpful for you, and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me know what types of videos to keep posting. And also please comment any questions or suggestions that you have. I respond to every comment as quickly as I can. So without further ado, enjoy the video. So first things first, we need to open up our tabs. Obviously eBay, you can open a second eBay window and look at sold listings, but I prefer to use 130point.com because it shows the best offer accepted prices from eBay listings. So you just go here to search eBay sales. We'll use that in a little bit when we're looking up prices. PSA Pop Report is a big one. I like to use the search section of it. So you can just follow this URL if you have a hard time finding where that's at. And then I always have this one open as well. Gixin. This is my sniper service for eBay. This is a must-have, by the way, and this isn't a sponsored video or anything, but this is a big-time game changer. Basically, you can set your max bid for any items that you're watching, and it will submit that bid for you with a couple seconds left in the auction listing. It's just a couple bucks per year. It is by far and away worth it. So it's definitely a must-have. It saves you tons of time, and it will increase your chance of winning listings. So to start, when I'm looking for new cards, I'll usually start with a pretty generic search. So for instance, I'll just go 2022 LeBron James, maybe throw Prism in there. You see I've searched this before, and you'll notice this searches here, the minus PSA, minus BGS, minus SGC. That's good to include because it'll filter out the graded stuff, which is nice. So go ahead and scroll until I see something I like. This phase is kind of the just casting my net phase, I guess you could call it. So anything that looks enticing, I'll just go ahead and watch. I won't look at it too closely yet. That'll come later. That just helps to kind of, compartmentalize things a little bit. So obviously Prism stuff that's low numbered is good to go for. Anything that looks like it's low pop, anything that looks like it would sell for usually like $80 or higher in a PSA 10. So we'll just watch several of these, and then I'll kind of show you my process from there. So that wraps up the first phase. Now I'll show you what I do next. So now you'll come over here to Gixin. Go ahead and click this Import Watch List button here. This will bring in the new cards that you're watching, and then we can start going through them one by one. I'll show you my process for this. Pay attention because this is obviously the meat of what we're doing here. If you just start bidding on these, on all of them, you're going to end up buying a lot of cards that are not gradable. So I buy about 80% of the cards I buy are gradable, and I average about 75% gem rate. So this is the exact process I use. So always look at the pictures. Like I said, centering is the first thing to look at. This card is well centered, but if you can see, there's some scratches along the surface, going all up the surface there. Those may be print lines, but it looks more like scratches to me. That's the type of thing that's definitely going to bump it down from a 10. And yeah, some of them even will include pictures that, that kind of show defects. Always read the description as well. Look at this condition. Near mint or better is what you're looking for. Some of them will say ungraded excellent, and in that case you just have to make sure that all of the raw cards they list are excellent, and then if everything else looks good, you can go ahead and bid on that. But yeah, I look at the description. In this case it doesn't matter because we see the defect here, and just resist the urge to buy it. There will be plenty of buyable cards. You don't need to buy them all. So just delete it from here, and then you can move on to the next one. So let's go ahead and go here. So this is the Go space parallel. When they're in top loaders, sometimes it's a little bit harder to tell. So centering looks pretty good. A little off center left to right, but not enough to bump it down from a 10. Surface looks good from what I can tell. Corners look good from what I can tell. And that's the thing with newer stuff. You don't need to worry as much about corners or edges because it's newer. So the likelihood of something bad or any defects, it's going to be a lot lower. So look at the back as well. You won't be able to spot all surface things. And any cards that I buy that end up being ungradable, it's usually a surface thing. So, yep, nothing weird in the description. It says near mint or better here. So everything looks good at this point. Now, don't skip this step. Come over here to see other items. You want to look at the seller's other items. And if they're selling a lot of graded stuff, especially that's been recently graded, you want to avoid those listings. So this one, I've only seen 2 graded cards so far, seeing a lot of raw stuff. So I'm okay to bid on this listing if it's at a good price. So next thing, you want to obviously go over here to 130 point, search it up, LeBron James, Monopoly, Go. You want to look for raw prices and PSA graded prices if you can to see the difference. Make sure there's margin there. Okay, so one sold a couple weeks ago for $70. So that's a good sign because the bid starts at 50. Now let's see if we can find one that's been graded by PSA. Some of this lower pop stuff that's newer, it's going to be really hard to find, but you can try to find similar things. Yeah, so not looking like we'll find it here, but that's okay, not a deal breaker. So now I would recommend searching it up in the pop report. So remember, when you're doing this, lean on the knowledge that you already have. Which sports you like, which players you like, makes a big difference. Okay, so this Go space, you click show pop. Okay, so it looks like there's been 12 10s, 13 9s. That's not what I love to see, especially with newer stuff. You're going to want to see a pretty high rate of 10s. This one's even less than 50%. So I don't love that. However, I'm confident by looking at the pictures here that it'll be worth a shot. So let's go ahead and bid on it. So to bid on it, you make sure you're on the right listing here. Click edit. And what was this, a $75 buy it now? Okay, so no one's bought it yet, and it has less than a day left. So I might bid, since it's a low gem rate, I might bid $63 on it. I always like to add the 1 cent just in case it makes a difference in who wins. So I'll bid a little bit below the last comp just in case it's not gradable. It's nice to be able to recoup most of your investment into it by reselling it raw. So there's that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Some of these are old ones that I haven't looked at yet. This was one that we watched. So right off the bat, darker cards are going to be tougher grades. The edges and corners, the wear is usually a lot more visible. However, it's a newer card, so that's not a deal breaker for me. So corners look good. Centering's a little hard to tell with mosaics. I usually don't even really check much at all if I can't find a definitive way to tell. The surface tends to be pretty clean with mosaics, with the exception of some dimples sometimes. So we're going to go ahead and say the pictures pass on this one. So next step, look at the condition and the description. Nothing weird there. Next step, see other items. Okay, we do have some graded stuff. We have a fair amount of graded stuff that's newer as well. So I'm going to actually pass on this one for that reason. So let's go ahead and unwatch this and delete it from here. We can move on to the next one now. Let's see, I think this was one of them. So this was the scope out of 49. This one's pretty off-centered, left to right. And top to bottom as well. I'm thinking that's going to disqualify it from a 10. Let's go ahead and unwatch that. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, let's move on here. Okay, so select red disco out of 49. As you guys can see, there's a scratch or print line there. That one might be more of a print line, in which case I'm okay taking a risk on that. Sometimes these things are just from the camera, but everything else looks good on the front. On the back as well. So condition looks good. Description looks good. So now we can go ahead and look at the other items. This is also a good place to watch other items too. If you find sellers that have a lot of good raw stuff, you can just watch things. So one graded card here. Looks like an older serial number though, starting with a 5. I think PSA is in the 8s now. So yeah, everything looks good there. So let's go ahead and look it up. So 2022 select LeBron out of 49. We'll see here. So $63 here for the concourse. $52 for the premiere. So a little bit all over the place here on the comps. 27. Okay, looks like a PSA 10 premiere sold for 142. PSA 9 courtside for 100. Okay, PSA 10 concourse for 150. That's a good comp. I can assume it's come down a little bit. So I'd probably be comfortable bidding about, we could try $40 on this. But first we can check the pop report. Select LeBron Red Disco, I believe is what it's called. That'll be the concourse. So 4 10s out of 6 graded. Yeah, not a lot of data to go off of, but I'm happy to take the risk on that. So let's go ahead and set our bid. Maybe I'll go 43.01. So there's a few examples of how I bid on cards and find cards. We'll just do a quick recap now. So step 1, come to eBay. Think about the players that you know and like, the sports that you know and like, and buy newer cards, at least to start out with. You can target Hall of Fame players, rookies, anything that you want to that will have a good margin. So search that up, when you go through the search results, this is where you'll watch a bunch that look good to you. Once you're done with that, you can go through even 2 or 3 pages of the results. Go over to Gixin, import your watch list, and then start going one by one to each of these listings. And then what you'll want to do there, obviously, like we talked about, is first look at the pictures, look at centering, corners, edges, and surface the best you can, front and back. Don't be afraid to message the seller if you think you see something but you're not sure. Message the seller about it. Then look at the condition, should be near mint or better, and the description. If there's no flaws listed, that's good. Finally, look at the seller's other items. You want to see mostly raw stuff, which we see here. Then you want to look at comps on 130 point. Set your bid to a good comp over here on Gixin. And check the pop report as well as you're doing these things. So that's my process. If you want to see more of this, comment below. Please subscribe as well. I plan to actually do some live sessions where I'm just going through and showing you my day-to-day eBay stuff, what I do, just live and raw. So please make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys next time.